everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk Chicago. My name's Zaghloul. Great to have you here on VPOD TV, channel 58.3, and on Roku. Big program for you today as we preview the Bears game. Coming up this Sunday, they take on Cincinnati. We'll talk about what to expect, and we'll pick a winner for that game coming up in a moment. Remember, before we get started, make sure you follow me at John Z Sports on Twitter and Instagram, and on Facebook at John Zaghloul. If you want to see more clips from the program, or you want to see more interviews, find us on YouTube at Sports Talk Chicago, or go to sportstalkchicago.com. And remember, subscribe to the VPOD TV YouTube page. You can watch full episodes of this show and full episodes of other shows on the VPOD TV network. Just search up VPOD TV. Want to start today with this. Sometimes you get things wrong. In my preseason prediction show, before we got to VPOD TV, I said on YouTube the Bears would win Week 2 versus Cincinnati, and I said overall they'd go 6-11 on the season. That might be correct. But I genuinely thought they'd easily beat Cincinnati. I mean, come on. The Bengals. Laughing stock of the NFL. They lost their quarterback last year because they had no offensive line. Some said it was the worst offensive line in football history. Their starting quarterback, Joe Burrow, who won the Heisman, or his ACL, got sacked, out for the year, had to make a comeback this year. I was very wary about Joe Burrow in general. I didn't know how good he'd be coming back. We see a lot of quarterbacks, or different ones, have issues over the years. I mean, look at RG3, Robert Griffin. Or his ACL, his LCL, PCL, and was never really the same. His career ended after Washington essentially threw him to the curb. Nobody helped him. They rushed him back, and his knee was never the same. No, the Bears are going to be home this weekend as they face Cincinnati, but I have my doubts about this game based on last weekend's performance. Now, if you didn't see my reaction to the game, I suggest you go back and watch on YouTube or on the VPOD TV page. I was appalled with the performance. All around, there was really nothing good about that game besides maybe David Montgomery, but even then there was a problem. They didn't run him enough. Can't be given a starting running back in the NFL 15 carries. You know, it's so funny, too. I was looking up these stats the other day, playing around on Pro Football Reference. Back in 2005, 2006, you had running backs carrying the ball 400 times in some cases in a season. Larry Johnson, former Chiefs running back, led the league in rushing yards and in carries. 412 carries. Now today, you're lucky if you get 15. What a joke. And that's Matt Nagy's philosophy. The Bears' hallmark is run the football and defense. Matt Nagy's all about never running, bad defense, and 5-yard pass plays with your quarterback. Not going to win you football games. Not going to help you drive downfield, put up points. As I mentioned the other day, Mark Trestman's offense is better run than Matt Nagy's. More points have been put on the board under Mark Trestman than Matt Nagy. Mark Trestman was driven out after 2 years. Nagy, still here. Nevertheless, I don't see the Bears winning this game. In case you didn't know, Cincinnati won Week 1 in overtime against Minnesota. Yeah, that's right, the Vikings with Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen. They won. Joe Burrow came to play. Burrow started off cold, but quickly heated up. 20 of 27. 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And they won with seconds to go in overtime. Joe Mixon, the running back, 127 yards on 29 carries. I don't think Zach Taylor's a great head coach. Granted, he doesn't have many of the weapons, but still, even he knows what it means and knows the significance of running the football. Jamar Chase, the rookie wide receiver, had 101 receiving yards. Even defensively, Jermaine Pratt and Jesse Bates both recorded 9 tackles. They look great. To their credit, they actually look like a competitive football team, which is pretty surprising because last year and even 2 years ago, they were the worst team in football. The Bengals. Worst team in football. Now they turn around and they don't look that bad. I really thought this would be an easy win for the Bears, but it turns out it won't be. I don't think they're going to win. Look, the Vikings are way better than the Bears. Plain and simple. They have Kirk Cousins, more of an established quarterback than Andy Dalton. Even if you don't like him, you have to admit that. Great running back, one of the best in football, Dalvin Cook, when he's healthy, and he is. And Thielen, who's a great wide receiver, and Jefferson, too. Coming off a great rookie year. They have enough offensive weapons, and their defense has gotten a bit better. It's not what it was 2 or 3 years ago, but look who I'm talking to. The Bears' defense looked like crap the other night, and they are certainly not their 2018 selves. Just be prepared for more heartbreak. I'd love to sit here and say this Bears team could turn it around, but if you look at their schedule over the next couple of weeks, I'd be cringing if I were you. Bengals, Browns, Lions, that'll be a win. Raiders, Packers, Buccaneers. Oh, by the way, the Lions played competitively. They lost by 8 to San Francisco. San Francisco's supposed to be good. Browns barely lost to Kansas City. Raiders won, Packers lost, and the Buccaneers won. I'm telling you, this is not going to be the year that everybody thought it would be. And even if Justin Fields plays, I don't think it's going to make a difference. That's not a controversial opinion. If Justin Fields plays, it may not make much of a difference. John, how could you say that? He's a great quarterback. If he's throwing 5-yard passes all day, won't make a difference. How consequential would that be? Oh, instead of Andy Dalton out there, it's Justin Fields throwing 5-yard passes. At the end of the day, we all know who controls the offense. It doesn't matter if Fields is out there. And here's the worst part. If Matt Nagy changes to cater more to Fields, that's actually a downside. Why didn't he cater to Andy Dalton? So if Justin Fields succeeds in this offense and not Andy Dalton, what does that mean? What does it mean if Justin Fields throws the ball 5 yards and their receivers run an extra 10 versus Andy Dalton getting killed out there? Yes, you could argue that Justin Fields executes the offense better. Andy Dalton didn't do bad. It just means that Matt Nagy prefers Justin Fields. I'm not saying you're not allowed to have favorites, but come on. Aren't you worried about the team's performance first? He did the same thing to Mitch Trubisky. He did. Run him out of town, sabotage, gone. What, now he's doing the same to Andy Dalton? Are we going to catch on yet? We going to see this? Andy Dalton completed 71% of his passes, threw for 200 yards. Had the pick. And that was it. No touchdowns. I believe he would have been a touchdown if they didn't have Justin Fields run it in instead of him. He drove downfield. So his passer rating was 73, and that looks horrible. But Andy Dalton completed his passes. I don't think Andy Dalton preferred to throw the ball 5 yards every time. No. Here's the real troubling thing, though. You look at Dalton's yards per attempt, 5.4. So on average, every pass resulted in a 5-yard gain. To me, that is not the way you should be playing in the NFL. That's not Dalton's fault. That's Matt Nagy. David Montgomery had a great game, but will he be used correctly? No. Hey, the Bengals get it. The Bengals were called dysfunctional. They were the worst team in football. They drafted Joe Burrow. They got him hurt with no O-line. Their coach came on radio the next day and said it's not the O-line's fault, even though it was the worst in the NFL. And you know what? They still know better. They still know the significance of running the football. I thought they were more dysfunctional than the Bears. Oh, boy, was I wrong. I'm actually expecting a loss. I can't believe this. I'm actually expecting the Bears to go down. And that's really unfortunate, and it should tell you all you need to know about where this team is. Tell me I'm wrong. Should be apparent to you the problems they have. And these are major. I had Mike North on a couple of days ago. He said the same thing. There needs to be an overhaul. An overhaul for this team. And it starts at the top. And it could have been done last year, but they bought themselves some time with Justin Fields. And they pinned all the blame on Mitch Trubisky. Again, let me ask you, do you blame Mitch today? I don't think so. Doesn't mean he's a superstar quarterback, but you know what? At his best, with a decent team around him, he could win your football games. He did. Winning record. Goodbye. So long. It's your fault, too. What are we doing here? It's a real shame the Bears fans bought into that. It's a real shame that they lost Mitch Trubisky, who ended up signing for $2 million. And you pay Andy Dalton $10 million. You're paying Nick Foles $10+ million. Nick Foles wasn't even dressed on Sunday. That's just dead salary sitting there. And because of Nick Foles, you had to cut Kyle Fuller and Bryce Callahan, Desmond Trufant. It's a Ryan Pace issue, too. No doubt about it. The end of last season, when I went on YouTube, I did shows on the press conferences and where the team's going to go. Everybody said, fire Pace, fire Nick. They dropped Justin Fields. There were people writing public apology letters to Ryan Pace. Think about how ridiculous that is. Justin Fields didn't play a snap. The Bears' defense was in shambles. Oh, Ryan, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I judged you too early. Really? That is judging too early. Apologizing to Ryan Pace, who number one won't see your letter, but number two, most importantly, didn't put together a contending team. Again! I've never seen somebody get more second chances than Pace and Nagy, both of them together. I've never seen that in my life. Last time I checked, it's a meritocracy. If you do good, you win. If you don't, you're out. Look how long it took the Bulls, and they finally understood it, to get rid of Garpax. Finally. They have Arturas Karnisovas, Mark Eversley. And look at what they've done to themselves. Vucevic, Levine, Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan. Now that's a basketball team. Same needs to happen here. It's the same thing over and over and over again. We see the same results every year, and yet everyone's complacent. Everyone still goes to Bears games, buys their merchandise, patronizes them. They're all happy. You know, we don't have to settle for mediocrity. Other cities don't. Other teams don't. We don't have to settle for constant 3-and-outs. For 15 carries for a Pro Bowl running back. For a revolving door quarterback. For an offensive scheme that blames the quarterback even though he did nothing wrong. For constant scapegoating. Dishonesty. No, we don't have to take that. We choose to. And when you look at this team today, it is unrecognizable from 2018, and it sure as hell is unrecognizable from past years. Can't even imagine what 85 Bears players think of this team today. And they watch this team, and they see these players this coaching staff, the GM, I wonder what's on their minds. I wasn't alive to watch the 85 team, but I've been told by many people it was the greatest football team they've ever seen. That's a franchise hallmark. That's something to be proud of if you're the Bears. Look at them today compared to 1985. Look at these guys. Really a shame. You know, this is a hallmark organization. Founding member, George Halas, football legend, Sid Luckman. I mean, there have been so many great players who put on a Bears uniform. And this team is just rooted in history. The NFL started because of the Bears, in part. Look at them today. Why is it that they act like the Browns? Browns are an expansion team, dysfunctional, not anymore. 25, 30 quarterbacks in 10 years. Constant first-round busts. Issues left and right, coaching staff, GM. Why are the Bears acting like that? Bears aren't an expansion team. Not like they have no money or they're brand new, don't know what to do. Been around for almost 100 years, more than 100 years. Why are they behaving like the Browns or the Jaguars? Does that make any sense to you? The Bengals, even. Why are they behaving like a new team? They're established. Love them or hate them, the Packers get it right. I'm not a Packer fan, but they've been around the same time. Look what they do. And the Bears are the Browns. Or really, Jacksonville, because the Browns are good now. Finally. I don't get it. It's beyond unfortunate. Not even for just the players and the organization, for you. For you watching at home. All of you who are Bears fans who love this team, who bleed Bears football. You've been subjected to years of embarrassment. And guess what? It ain't ending soon. It is not ending soon. It's going to be a long, long season. I want to leave you with this. Please don't fixate on the quarterback. That's a distraction, okay? That's a distraction like last year. Mitch Trubisky was the scapegoat. He was the distraction. Now he's gone. They told you, oh, new quarterback will be fine. They said at the press conference, I remember talking about this. We need better play out of our quarterbacks, even though Mitch led them to the playoffs. How the hell does that make sense? Don't pay attention to the quarterback controversy. I'm warning you. That is not the issue here. No matter who the quarterback is, and we've seen it time and time and time again, it has nothing to do with the position. It has everything to do with who's calling the plays. I don't think Andy Dalton is calling 5-yard pass plays. Andy Dalton doesn't determine how many times David Montgomery runs the football. The quarterback controversy is a distraction. Pay attention to who's behind the curtain. That's how you'll know what's really going on. You look at face value, if you see this team and say, oh, it's the quarterback, and not look at the defense, not look at the coaching, GM, you're doing it wrong. Don't fixate on one position. Remember who calls the plays and who determines personnel. That's Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy. Thank you for watching today here on VPOD TV. Tune in tomorrow, 10:30. I have David Hall on from 670 The Score here in Chicago. We'll talk more about the Bears. We'll talk some baseball, and we'll preview more so this Bengal game coming up on Sunday. So long, and thanks for watching.